Patreon.com/the Walk-Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there.
After all that feel-good stuff, let's get into the Yankees' woes. And listen, as a baseball fan, there's a lot of hate towards the Yankees. And I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. You never want to see injuries happen. Couldn't happen to a better team, though. So, Carlos Rodon, the big pitching free agent get by the Yankees this offseason, and he was truly the most coveted dude on the open market. He is a stud. He's an ace. He automatically became the best pitcher on that Yankees rotation, which is an insane thing to say when you've got guys like Nestor Cortez and Garrett Cole who put up the sort of numbers they did last year. Mm-hmm. He was shut down yesterday with a left forearm strain, which it does suck for the Yankees because that's their big lefty. So now he's starting the season on the IL. Now, they did do an MRI that showed the UCL is still intact, but this is bad news for the Yankees and for Rodon. And I know that this is a scary area for Rodon to be dealing with an injury because he already had Tommy John surgery in 2019. 20% of forearm strains in the pitching arm wind up resulting in Tommy John surgery. 20%, 1 out of 5 strains to the forearm wind up. Now, here's some stats about Tommy John surgery. 91% of pitchers recover from the first Tommy John surgery.
Question. Do you think that 80% of the time it doesn't require Tommy John surgery? Is the other 80% aren't professional baseball players?
That's probably where the stat winds up. Yeah. The other
100% of the time, if you're 100%. A baseball pitcher, you're destined for Tommy John.
Take a stab in the dark, Adam. The percentage of pitchers that fully recover and come back from their second Tommy John surgery. 91% of pitchers recover from the first one. How many from the second?
69?
Oh,
70?
Love that guess. 69, dude. No, it's actually 33% of pitchers recover from the second Tommy John surgery. It's never as successful. It's a trickier surgery. Normally what they're doing is they're taking your tendon from either your knee or your other arm and putting it in. But once you use up that, then they've got to go to a dead body or something and use someone literally, this is the case, buddy. They're literally using tendons from corpses and it just doesn't, I mean, they'll recover and be able to use their arm again. So personally, it's good, but can they also get on a mound and throw 99 miles an hour?
You would not want to be the guy on the Yankees organization with the lowest batting average right now if they're going to need to take one from a dead body.
Josh Donaldson giving his tendon to Carlos Rodon.
Thanks. Here's an interesting quote. This is from Carlos Rodon himself. So last year, this is the quote. Last year, it popped up in early May, the first time I had ever felt it in my forearm, the top of my forearm. Worked with some people, did some treatments. Luckily, I woke up. It was my 5th day getting ready to pitch, and I felt nothing. So that for me is a little bit of a concern, is that not only is this, a few years after Tommy John, but it's also something that popped up last year a little bit. Now, I guess the glass half full, the toxic positivity look at this is, this is something that just happens and he knows how to manage his body and could just go away. So that's the optimistic look if you're a Yankees fan. The optimistic look if you're a Blue Jays fan, well, this is a lingering issue.
Ongoing issue. So we'll see what winds up happening with Carlos Rodon. But man, this is a heavy hit after it already being announced that Frankie Montas is going to miss the entire season, or most likely the entire season, with his shoulder surgery. Nestor Cortez still not throwing off a mound. He's trying to overcome the hamstring injury. This starting rotation for the Yanks is looking pretty thin to start the season. And yeah, it took some major injuries to happen, but I think it's safe to say the Blue Jays rotation is in far better shape and looks like the best rotation in the AL East with these injuries to the Yankees. Listen, you never want to celebrate it, obviously, but you got to almost give a little bit of credit to this to this Blue Jays front office. Blue Jays fans, I mean, I was crying. I not crying. I was calling for Carlos Rodon. I wanted Rodon to be signed by the Blue Jays. I wanted Montes
Mm-hmm.
at the trade deadline. And there is something to be said for doing your due diligence and maybe mitigating your risk when it comes to big time free agent signings.
It's a good point. And again, not to blow too much smoke of the butt of old Ross Atkins there, but it is, for obvious reasons, way easier to evaluate transactions they did make. But yeah, for a very real reason, and we're seeing it now, it's just as important to evaluate the transactions they avoided.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Listen, this could all be for nothing. You know what? This whole segment could wind up being completely and totally irrelevant. Carlos Rodon could be back in 2 weeks. He could maybe miss one start at the beginning of the season and then still win the Cy Young Award for the New York Yankees. The guy is a phenom. He's a legitimate ace, and he's one of the best left-handed pitchers in all of baseball. So you never want to like poo-poo having a guy like that on your team in your rotation. But man, already won Tommy John surgery. He's 30 years old and he's feeling lingering effects in his forearm. Like, man, that's scary stuff.
well, you know what? Give me 170. You know what? Give me 170 good, healthy innings out of Chris Bassett over 40 innings out of Carlos Rodon.
Yeah, couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more. And great point with Chris Bassett, an an inning eater, and a guy with very little injury history. Okay,